Hello class 12 students. So continuing the previous lecture, today we will discuss about Ampere's circuital law. So just like in electrostatic we have Gauss law to find out the electric field, here we have the Ampere's circuital law. Using that law we can find out the magnetic field. So this law is very important. We'll see the application of the Ampere's circuital law, and using that very easily we can find out the magnetic field. So Ampere's circuital law states that the line integral of the magnetic field, or also known as magnetic flux density, B around any closed path is equal to the mu naught times the current threading through the enclosed to the area enclosed by the path. That is, line integral of B dot dl will be equal to mu naught into I. So if we have a current carrying wire, we know that there will be a magnetic field around it, is it? So this law states that if we take a line integral of the magnetic field around any closed path, if we have a this current carrying wire and we choose a closed path around it, so this law states that this will be the total area in which the current is threading passing by. So in this case, the line integral of B dot dl means on this, at each point the magnetic field B dot dl will be equal to mu naught times I, the current threading through the area enclosed by the path. Clear? So line integral of B dot dl, if we'll take of this closed path, so that will be equal to mu naught times the current threading through this area. Okay, so that is the Ampere's circuital law. Line integral, here we have this represent the closed path line integral. Okay, so this is the line integral of B dot dl will be equal to mu naught into I, and where mu naught is the permeability of free space. This law is true for any assembly of currents and for any closed path. So the important thing is, when we choose the path, that will be closed. So in that, the current threading through that area multiplied by the permeability, that is mu naught, will be equal to the line integral of B dot dl. So if you remember the Gauss law, so in Gauss law, what is this formula we have? So in that case of Gauss law, if we compare Gauss law and the Ampere's law, so in Gauss law we have surface integral of E dot dA is equal to net charge enclosed by the surface Q net divided by epsilon naught. And in Ampere's law we have line integral of B dot dl will be equal to mu naught times the current threading through that closed loop. So in both the cases, this is defined for the closed surface. Here we have closed surface, here we have closed loop or path. So here we have the closed surface, is it? And here we have a closed loop, either closed loop or path, and this closed loop is known as Amperian loop. So this is known as Amperian loop. Okay, and this closed surface, here we have the Gaussian surface, is it? Now in both the cases they use the symmetric situation. So here also we have, when we choose the Gaussian surface, that will be according to the symmetry. So they uses the symmetry situation, is it? So in this case also symmetric situation is used, and here also the symmetric situation is used. Clear? We have here closed surface integral, and here we have the closed line integral or path integral, we can say that. So here when we take, we'll say this one as closed surface integral, and here we have closed path integral. Okay, so if in some way they are similar, here this law is used to find out electric field, Ampere's law here is used for finding out the magnetic field. Both uses the closed surfaces or closed path. Here it is Gaussian surface, and in this case we'll use Amperian loop. Both uses the symmetrical situation is used. Here we have the surface integral of E dot dA, and here we have the line integral or closed path integral. Clear? And here we have Q net by epsilon naught, that is charge enclosed by the surface, and here we have current threading through that closed path. So these are the similarities between the differences, comparison between the Gauss law and Ampere's law. Now we'll see the proof of this statement. So to prove this statement, we'll select a current carrying wire or a conductor. So here XY is a current carrying wire or a conductor perpendicular to the page directed upward. Now in the paper we can't show the perpendicular like this, but the situation is like this. It is perpendicular to the paper directed upward, and around it we choose a circle. Okay, so the current flowing is in this direction, upward direction in the conductor. Here it is in upward direction. So if I curl my finger using the right hand thumb rule, what will be the direction of the magnetic field? So curling of my forefinger will represent the direction of magnetic field. So if I curl my finger, so at each point here the magnetic field will be in this direction. Is it? If I curl, so here it will be in this direction, then here it will be in this direction. In this point, if it will be in this direction. So similarly here it will be in this direction. So the direction of curling my finger will represent the direction of the magnetic field. Is it clear? So at each point on this circle, the magnetic field will be tangential. So at point P, if we choose a point at distance r from this conductor, so the magnetic field is tangential, and the dl element and the B will be along same direction. dl will be along this direction and B is also coming in this direction using right hand thumb rule. So in this case, if I choose like this, so the field will be like this, curling of my finger. So this thumb is upward direction. Now when we draw on the copy, so it will be like this only will draw, no. So in this case when we choose, so like here, and the curling of my finger. Here it is like this, so curling of my finger. At each point if you draw, so you will get the magnetic field like this only. Here you will get in this direction, here you will get in this direction, here you will get in this direction, here you will get in this direction. So like that you will get the magnetic field. So at one point it is taken P. Now we know that using Biot-Savart law, at a point V, at a distance r from this conductor, the value of magnetic field is B is equal to mu naught by 2 pi I by r, and direction, as I told you, it will be along the tangent drawn to a circle of radius r centered to the conductor. Now from figure, as I told you that B and dl will be in same direction, so surface line integral of B dot dl will be equal to B dl cos theta. This is a dot product of B and dl. So B dl and theta will become, since B and dl is in same direction, so theta will be 0 degree. So this will become B dl, and B line integral of dl will be, that means the total area of this circle, and that will be the circumference. Means on this circle if we choose and we find out the line integral of dl, so in that case what we'll get, that will be the circumference. So in that case this will be equal to 2 pi r. So line integral of B dot dl will become equal to mu naught by 2 pi I by r B value, and 2 pi r will getting for line integral of dl. So 2 pi and 2 pi will cancel out, r and r will cancel out. What you will get, line integral of B dot dl will be equal to mu naught into I. So this is how we can prove the Ampere's law. Okay. Now we'll see the applications, because this will help us to find out the magnetic field very easily. So let's see that, like in the Gauss law we have seen about the finding out the electric field for an infinite line of charge, infinite sheet of charge, is it, for a spherical shell. Here we'll find out for a long straight wire that we had find out earlier using Biot-Savart law. Now we'll, by applying Ampere's law, very easily find out the value of the magnetic field, this formula. Also we'll find out the magnetic field for a long straight solenoid and toroid. So first we'll find out for magnetic field of a long straight thin wire. So for that the figure will be same. XY will be the conductor we'll choose. Current threading through it is I. At this point the value of magnetic field if we'll find out. So B and DL will be in this direction, same direction. So B dot DL will become equal to mu naught into I. The current threading through this is I. So this will become mu naught into I. Mu naught is the permeability of free space. I is the current enclosed by the circle. Now B and DL, as clear from the figure, it will be along same direction. So line integral of B dot DL will be equal to B DL cos 0. Directly I have written, is it? So cos 0 is 1. So this will become B DL, and B and line integral of DL will give you 2 pi r. Total circumference of this circle, that is 2 pi r. So B into 2 pi r equal to mu naught into I. So B will become equal to mu naught by 2 pi I by r. So see, if this question is asked, it is not given in the question, means in the board examination, if it is not mentioned that using Ampere's law or using Biot-Savart law. This can be proved by Biot-Savart's law also, and this can be proved by Ampere's law also. So if it is only given to derive this law, then you can use this Ampere's law very easily to prove this. And if it is given using Biot-Savart's law, then you have to do the derivation that we have discussed in the previous lecture. Okay. Next we are going to find out the magnetic field of a long straight solenoid. So I hope all of you know about solenoid. Solenoid is a arrangement in which we have a insulator in which the wires are wounded. Is it? You have studied in class 10. So if we have a insulating material, we choose a insulating material and in which wires are wounded, like this. If I choose, okay, so like this, wires are wounded on it and they are connected with a battery, and when current passes through this solenoid, so this solenoid behaves as a magnet. It will create a strong magnetic field. If you remember, electromagnetics means electromagnets are formed like this only, is it? So if current will pass through this solenoid, so it produces a very strong magnetic field around it. Now inside the solenoid, if we draw the magnetic field, so magnetic field inside is parallel, is it? If you remember class 10th, in the class 10th we have discussed about the solenoid, the type of magnetic field produces around it. So this is the solenoid. So in this case it produces a very strong magnetic field when current is passed through it. So one side the current will enter. So if we'll choose this is the solenoid, so one side it will enter. So from front side and from back side the current direction will be opposite. If it is entering from this side, so here it will be inward, and from back side it will be outward, is it? So like that we represent the direction of the current, and in this case the direction of magnetic field will be in this direction. Okay, when we choose our thumb and close the current and choose our thumb, the thumb direct the direction of the magnetic field in case of solenoid. Okay, so if we consider a solenoid very long and the solenoid we have diameter of it is very means small in comparison to its length, is it? The length of this solenoid will be very large in comparison to its diameter, means diameter is very small but the length is very large in case of a solenoid. So if we consider a solenoid very long compared with its diameter and carrying a current I naught, in which the current flowing is I naught. So as I told you, the direction of the current at each point on the this side, as I told you, front and back side. Okay, so if we choose this front, this is the front on the top of this side, front side of it, the current will enter, and this back side the current will come outward. So here it is representing the direction of the current. Okay, at each point it is inward and this represent the current outward. Don't get confused. this direction is not representing the magnetic field. It is representing, if this is a solenoid, so the back side, front side of it, if we take, so coiling will be done around the wire. Choose this circle is the coiling of the wire. So coiling will be done from front side, the current is flowing, so here it will be inward going, and from back side it will come outward. So because of that, the current at this point will be in inward direction and the current in this point will be in outward direction. What will do, also the magnetic field lines, you can see inside of it will be parallel, at the corner of it will be in this direction little bit, but inside it is exactly parallel. What we do, we choose a rectangle inside of this solenoid A, B, C, D, in which the direction of the current is like this. Okay, so CD is quite far from this solenoid, so there will be no effect of the magnetic field here. Okay, so CD at point, if this surface of the rectangle will choose CD, there will be no magnetic field. And in case of BC and DA, since they are perpendicular to the magnetic field, so B dot DL means B DL cos 90, the value will be 0. This I am telling because when we will derive this equation, so we will use this. So here, applying the Ampere's circuital law to the rectangular path that just I told you, this is the closed path that we have chosen here in the solenoid A, B, C, D, and this is a closed path as you can see. And in this closed, when we will apply the Ampere's circuital law, because this is a closed path, so we can apply, and it is a rectangular path, so line integral of B dot DL will be equal to mu naught time current threading through that path, which is I. So now I being the net current enclosed by the rectangle. Now for the rectangle ABCD, this whole surface means line integral of this B dot DL can be written as line integral from A to B, integral of B to C, then C to D and D to A. That will be the total area of the rectangle. So we can write this line integral or path integral of B dot DL as A to B, B dot DL, B to C, B dot DL, and here we will not make this path because this is for the closed path. Now we are summing all the surfaces, so here the symbol is not the closed one, it will be the simple integral. Okay, don't make this one closed. So this will be the simple integral of A to B, then B to C, then C to D, and then D to A. That will give the complete line integral of B dot DL. Clear? Now as I told you, since CD is quite at far distance from this solenoid, so value of magnetic field for this part will be 0, and for this BC and DA, they are perpendicular to the magnetic field. So in this case, B dot DL, that is BL cos 90, will also be 0. So B to C B dot DL and D to A B dot DL will be 0, since here B DL cos 90 it is 0, and C to D is because at far from the solenoid, so here we can say that outside the solenoid the magnetic field is 0, so here also this value will be 0. So what we are left with, the line integral of B dot DL will be equal to A to B B dot DL, and this will be A to B B DL cos 0 because B and DL will be in same direction, parallel. So in this case, what will get, B is constant taken out, A to B DL. Now A to B DL will be equal to X if we choose that the length of the AB part is X. Clear? So this will become equal to B into X. Now if we take that there are n number of turns of the solenoid, so in that case, for n number of turns passing through the rectangle ABCD, it will be equal to n into X. Is it? If we take n as the number of turns per unit length of the solenoid, per unit length n be the number of turns of the coil or the valve winding on it. So if we choose for ABCD, so number of turns passing through the rectangle ABCD will become equal to n into X. Is it? So current in each turn, if it is I naught, so the net current enclosed by the rectangle ABCD will become equal to nx into I naught. Is it? So we have got that here line integral of B dot DL is equal to B into X. So this Bx will become equal to mu naught nx into I naught. So x and x will cancel out. What you will get, B is equal to mu naught n into I naught. So if you will see that B is independent of the diameter of the solenoid and the length also. Is it? Here we are not getting x. So here B is independent of that. On what factor B is depending? B is depending on the current. Also depending on the number of turns per unit length. Is it? So B is equal to mu naught times n into I naught. So the field B is independent of the length and the diameter of the solenoid and is uniform over the cross section of the solenoid. Now if the solenoid is wrapped on a core of material having absolute permeability, here we are taking the permeability of free space. If the solenoid is wrapped in a material of absolute permeability, that is mu r or mu, we can say that. So in that case the magnetic field is written as mu n into I naught. In place of mu naught represent free space, mu will represent the material. So mu n into I naught or mu r n into I naught. That is mu r is the relative permeability. So relative permeability will be equal to mu r is equal to mu by mu naught. So mu will become equal to mu naught into mu r. So we can write this as mu n into I naught, that is permeability of the material, or we can write it as the product of the permeability of free space, permeability of the material, n into I naught. These are the formulas given for the numerical. Sometime it is asked to find out, and relative permeability of free space is given, number of turns per unit length is given. So you have to find out the current or the magnetic field. There you will use this formula. Also the magnetic field at the end of a long solenoid is half of that at the center. So for the total length we have the value of B is mu naught n into I naught, but the magnetic field at the end of a long solenoid is half of that at the center. So in that case at the center we have got mu naught n into I naught. So the end of the long solenoid will get half into mu naught n into I naught. The magnetic field will be stronger inside near the center of the solenoid, and it will be weak near the ends of it. So because of that it is given at the end of it the magnetic field will be half of the magnetic field at the center. So this will be the value mu naught n I naught in between the center of the solenoid, and at the end it will become half of that value. So half of mu naught n into I naught.